So it's the first day of spring. Just actually, as Leanne was coming in the door this morning, she asked me if I wanted to change any of the hymns this morning. Probably should have changed that first one to, I don't know, Let It Snow. I know that's not a hymn, but it just seems appropriate. Here's a question, though, for anybody with, wisdom on this kind of stuff. Just because it says it's the first day of spring on the calendar, and I'm sure there's scientific reasons why we call it that, vernal equinox, all that stuff. Just because it's on the calendar doesn't make it so, does it? Like, it felt like spring yesterday and the day before. So was spring kind of cheating a little bit and getting in ahead? Or did we actually have spring on, say, Friday? Summer was yesterday, and now it's winter again. How does that work exactly? You'd think that nature would pay attention to the darn calendar, and we'd be having spring today. Wouldn't it? Except it doesn't. Which, here's an important question then. What does spring feel like? Anybody have answers? Anybody? Warm? Did you say warm? Did you say warm? Here's an important question to ask people who may have, say, come into town from a farm this morning. Does it feel like spring today? No. So what does spring feel like? I got one warm. What else? Happy? Unless you're a fan of winter, right? I mean, if you're a big fan of winter, maybe you're like super happy today. If your birthday's in the winter, that is a really important thing to remember. I'm glad you brought that up. Because sometimes we go, okay, spring's happy time, right? And summer's all like we get to do stuff and there's no school so we can lie around or we can play or do whatever, right? And then the fall's nice because colors and stuff, and then it's winter. And winter is sad and dark and depressing and boring. In fact, quite often when we talk about, like, say stuff like, it's the winter of our lives, that's what we mean. But if your birthday's in the middle of winter, it's a happy time. If you love which? If you love to sleep? Oh, ski. I was gonna. If you love to sleep, you can do that anytime, Lori. But sure, winter's good for that too. If you're a bear, ski. Yes, if you love to ski, or you like sledding, or you like snowshoeing, or any hockey. Hockey you can play anytime. But if you like any of the winter sports, it's a fun time. Or if your work is, what's important to your work is stuff that you do during the winter, sure, winter's a happy time. So, okay. First of all, apparently seasons don't pay any attention to the calendar. Secondly, we can all have different feelings about the seasons. So, why? Like, what's the deal with seasons? Like, what's the point there? Because we get, okay, so spring is, winter's snow, spring is the snow's melting eventually, and stuff's starting to grow, summer stuff grows, it's nice and warm, fall, we're changing back to winter again and stuff. So it's just like, it's kind of like those things change, but there's something that doesn't change around all of that, isn't there? There's something that doesn't change. Because even in winter, when we talk about spring, we talk about new life, right? Things coming back to life. But they weren't they weren't necessarily gone. They were still there. They were sleeping in the ground, right? The plants, the trees, the grass. It's still there. It just kind of starts to reappear in spring, and then it's there in full bloom in the summer. And then in fall, it starts to kind of disappear again, but it's still there. So it's okay. It's okay if winter is your favorite season. That's okay. Don't be talking to me, but that's okay. I'm a fall person. Winter, not so much, shoveling. But we can have our favorite seasons. That's great. The thing is, there's something that's there all the time, isn't it? There's life there all the time. Sometimes it's a little bit more obvious than other times, but there's always life there. It's like there's a rhythm to all of that. And that rhythm doesn't pay any attention whatsoever to the calendar. It does what it does because there's always life there. That's where God is. God is in that life that's always there. Sometimes it might feel like it's sleeping. Sometimes it might feel like it's like just so energetically springing back to life. It might feel like it's just kind of there and here I am. Sometimes it's trying to say goodbye. All of those times, that spirit of life is always there. I feel like this is an appropriate moment to segue to the next song because all it takes to get that life going is